Jon Bruning.
Well, this is a great day. Nice to be among patriots today. Nice to be among friends. My name's Jon Bruning. I'm the Attorney General here in the state of Nebraska, and I'm a candidate for the United States Senate, and I'm here to ask for your vote. And I'll tell you why. Listen, I'm one of those guys that believes in the United States Constitution. I'm one of those people that believes that the federal government ought to stick to specific enumerated powers. Not everything they're doing today. Specific enumerated powers. Everything else should be left to the states. I don't know when we got away from this. I just finished reading my friend Mike Lee's book, The New Senator from Utah. You know Mike Lee, Tea Party favorite in Utah. He's taken the country by storm. He talks about exactly what we're all talking about when we're alone, which is why is it that the federal government continues to encroach on every aspect of our lives? Why is it? We can make this change. We can push the federal government back in the box. We can get back to the place where it's the states that are making these decisions. You got a guy out front, Glenn Freeman, who I've known for a long time. This is his book, A Republic If You Can Keep It. You all know who said that, Benjamin Franklin. And his point was, Benjamin Franklin's point and Glenn Freeman's point, is once people figure out they can vote themselves the treasury, that's when this great country is going to come to an end. Right now you've got precious few people paying the taxes. You've got 47% of the people that aren't paying any taxes. It's a republic if you can keep it. The greatest republic in the history of the world, not just the world today, but in the history of this planet, is on the precipice. This year, this country will bring in $2.2 trillion in revenue. We will spend $3.8 trillion. How is that sustainable? How can we go on when we're going $1.6 trillion in the hole in 1 year? It's too much. We've got to make changes. And you know what we're spending this money on. I'm the guy as Attorney General. I've sued EPA 27 times. Again and again, I'm filing lawsuits to back these guys off. And what are they doing with our money? Well, I'm up this week on Tuesday night, or Monday night, I'm in Broken Bow. And the road superintendent, he says, we're trying to build a road in Sargent, Nebraska. And they've got all this equipment out there in Sargent sitting on the side of the road, and it's not doing anything. And what's going on? Well, somebody found a bearing beetle, little bitty beetle, and they stopped the whole project. One bearing beetle. And so the biologist has to go out there and he sets these traps, and you can see these buckets, right? And they put a rat carcass in the bottom, and the beetles crawl up and they fall into the bottom of it. And they put all these buckets up and down the side of the road, and they capture all the bearing beetles. And the biologist goes out in the morning, grabs the beetles, and they take them 2 miles down, and they gently let the beetles out so that the beetles will survive. And some farmer, he's got a little more sense than the biologist for EPA or whoever it is, and the farmer walks out there with his video camera one night because the raccoons figure out the beetles are in the bucket. And it's like grapes in a jar, the raccoons. They're not stupid. They're going to do the easy way if we make it easy for them, just like welfare recipients all across America. If we don't incent them to work, they're going to take the easy route. We can change this country. No more garbage like protecting the bearing beetle north of Sargent. I was at an event in Lincoln here a couple weeks ago at my friend Tom Cabela's house, and a guy said to me, he's a construction guy, he said, I had a crew, we were building a fence. It was a 7-foot fence, it was 30 feet long. There was a guy sitting watching us all day long. He had a Mustang, he was sitting out front watching this fence go up, and the bricklayers are building the fence. And the ladder's over the top of the fence. And here's the top of the fence, and at the end of the day, the guy goes out, he gets out of his Mustang, gets his tape measure out, and he looks at the ladder, and he says, that ladder's only 32 inches over the top of the fence. OSHA rules say it has to be 36 inches. Fines the guy $7,000. What kind of country are we living in where we're worrying about this crap? What are we doing in the United States of America that we're paying some guy to sit out front in his Mustang and watch guys build a brick wall and decide whether the ladder's high enough over the fence? You wonder why we've gotten this far in debt? That's why we're $15 trillion in debt. We're worrying about the wrong things. If we're worrying about if the ladder goes 32 or 36 inches, we're worrying about the bearing beetle. We're funding millions and millions of dollars to fund extra IRS agents. As your Attorney General, I have to carry out executions as part of the job you asked me to do. And we may have differing moral beliefs on it, but you asked me to do it. We have lethal injection. That's what your legislature passed. It's a 3-drug cocktail. The first drug, sodium thiopental. It's not made here in the States anymore. We had to get it from India. We brought it in through customs. The customs guys looked at it. They said, okay, that's going to the state of Nebraska, and they shipped it in. The DEA guys decided it wasn't on the approved list, the importer. So we got 10 DEA lawyers making $150,000 apiece, worrying about where the state of Nebraska gets its sodium thiopental, which is the anesthetic, by the way. Why we even needed anesthetics, a whole different story for somebody that we've condemned. But that's the anesthetic. And we got 10 DEA lawyers. Think about how much money these guys are making. $150,000 apiece plus benefits. I'm thinking to myself, how about all you guys go grab a gun, go stand down there on the Mexican border and try to keep some of that dope from coming in here. That'll save us some money instead of worrying about the state of Nebraska. Folks, this is simple. We want to balance this budget. We've got to shrink the size of the federal government. You send me to the United States Senate, I'm going to stand up to shrink the size of the federal government. I would have voted no on this deal last week. I'm a no. And I'm not afraid to be put in a box. I was a state senator many years ago, represented this area. This beautiful place wasn't here, but I represented this area. And when I was in the legislature, there was a tax increase. Pat remembers it. And they called it the Dirty 30. And they came to me, and I was 20-something, and basically grabbed me by the ear and said, listen, you have to do the right thing for America. You have to vote for this tax increase. Nebraska needs it. I said, I can't do it. Not going to vote for a tax increase. It's not a revenue problem. It's a spending problem. We can spend less. Now we got a governor. Legislature understands that. At that time, we had a governor that understood it, Johannes, but we had a legislature that didn't. The legislature said, we're going to enact this tax increase. Said, no way. They said, Bruning, if you don't vote for the tax increase, you're not going to get your chairmanship. We're going to put you in a corner. Senator Fulton knows how this works. They're going to put their thumb on you, and they're going to put you in a corner. I said, you do what you got to do. I'm not voting for the tax increase, and I didn't. And if you send me to Washington, D.C., I'm not going to vote for tax increases there either. This is not a revenue problem, folks. It's a spending problem. That's it. That's what it is. Listen, I need your help. We got to beat Ben Nelson. Ben Nelson voted for Obamacare. I'm leading the lawsuit against Obamacare. Ben Nelson voted for Sonia Sotomayor. She's hostile to those of us that love the Second Amendment. We got to get rid of Ben Nelson. I love the Second Amendment. I believe you ought to be able to own your guns. I don't even like the fact we got to register them with the government. 230-some years ago, you didn't want the government knowing what you had. We can do better in this country. We can do better in this state. Ben Nelson's not the guy. You got to put your best foot forward in May. We got to have the right candidate to beat Ben Nelson. I believe I'm that person. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much.